Thanks. Before I begin, I would like to request any of you all who would like to keep your cameras on, please do feel free to keep them on. It will be good for me to talk to human beings than just things. So please do feel free to keep your cameras on if you are okay with it. Today I'm going to speak on Angad, and I'm going to try to analyze the life of Angad, the stories of Angad, in a way that we can learn from it and we can understand this personality of the Ramayana. So Ramayana is a very practical and life applicable book. And therefore, every story of the Ramayana you pick up, there is a lot to learn from it, and there's a lot to understand from it. My voice is the best it can get. Probably you'll have to use earphones if you find the voice is too low. It can't get better than this for me at least, because from my side it's the best. Mahaprem Prabhu, you're able to hear me clearly?
Yes, Prabhuji, from my side it's loud and clear.
Yeah, so whoever has issues with voice, please use a earphone to get better for you all, okay? So the life of Angad is a very interesting life. I'm going to take you all through a lot of stories of Angad and lessons that we can learn from these stories. I'll begin with the story that comes towards the end of the Ramayana. When Lord Ram uh, became the king of Ayodhya and he returned back from Lanka, there is a very interesting episode that happens. So the Vanaras attend the coronation ceremony of Lord Ram, and after the coronation ceremony, they are hanging around in Ayodhya. And Lord Ram is, happy to have them, but at some point, Ram feels that they should go back home. So Lord Ram goes to all the Vanaras and tells them, please go back to Kishkinda and go and perform Ram Kaj. Usually when so the Vanaras are very confused. They were saying, what do you mean by go back to Kishkinda and perform Ram Kaj? If Ram Kaj essentially means service to Lord Ram. That's what Ram Kaj means. So Vanaras is saying, if we go to Kishkinda, we will do Kam Kaj, right? This is like regular work. But how come you're saying that we'll do Ram Kaj in Kishkinda? If you want to do Ram Kaj, if you want to serve Lord Ram, you should stay in Ayodhya. That's where we can serve Ram. If you go to Kishkinda, we'll only serve our own families, our own society, etc. Ram said, no. Till the day you met me, all of you all were doing Ram Kaj. You're doing regular work. But the day you met me, from that day, everything you do is Ram Kaj, because everything of yours belongs to me. Your family is mine. Your houses are mine. You are mine. So whatever you do in thinking of me, remembering me, is Ram Kaj. He said, go back to your families, go back to your house, and continue performing Ram Kaj. So all the Vanaras agreed and they all left back from Ayodhya to Kishkinda, back to their families. Two people were not going. One was Hanuman and the other was Angad. So Angad fell at the feet of Ram and said, please, please, please allow me to stay here. Ram asked him why. What happened? He said, Angad said, please allow me to stay here. I'll do any menial service that you tell me to do. Ram told him, why do you want to stay here? Angad told him that I'm not sure how I'll be treated in Kishkinda. Basically, he was fearful of Sugriv, his uncle. He wasn't sure if Sugriv is going to treat him with respect, with kindness, or is he going to treat him as Vali's son with meanness and with badness. So he was a little hesitant. Ram realized this person's fear is unfounded. This person's fear is not really worth fearing. And Ram realized that the moment he reaches back to Kishkinda, his fear will be taken care of. Sugriv is a kind person. Sugriv is a very, very nice person. And the moment Angad reaches Kishkinda and he connects to Sugriv, he'll realize that he's wrong. So Ram told him to go back. And there's a second reason why Ram told him to go back, which is more important. Second reason he said was because Angad discriminated from service by saying you can give me any menial service. So the moment you say give me any menial service, what does it mean? It means you're discriminating this service from that service. Service is service. There is nothing called menial service. The moment you say I want menial service, it simply means some service you think is superior. Ram did not like that. And he said, someone who discriminates service doesn't deserve service. He said, go back. On the other hand, Hanuman didn't ask Ram, should I stay back? Can I stay back? And Ram didn't tell Hanuman, you should stay back or don't stay back. Both of them assumed that they are going to be together only. Hanuman did not have to ask. Ram did not have to tell. And more interestingly, Hanuman didn't even have a family at the back. You know? So it is not that Hanuman had to go to someone. So Ram felt that Hanuman should stay with me. And Hanuman didn't even ask Ram whether I should stay or not. He just stayed back. That's all. That is a beautiful connection between Hanumanji and Lord Ram. Now, this story sets the context of Angad's character and personality. Fear is a very prominent element in Angad's life. And that fear is because of a lot of background that Angad has gone through. A lot of trauma that Angad has gone through. And a lot of experiences Angad has gone through. Many of us do seva, sadhana, out of fear. And fear-based bhakti is something that is very common in today's world. Fear-based bhakti is something that is very often seen in today's world. How often do we see people who are so scared and they take shelter of God, saying that, oh God, please help me because I am in trouble. Fear is a very powerful driver. In fact, Ram encourages fear also, but he encourages fear that is healthy. Like, for example, when Ram was living in Malyavanta Parvat in Kishkinda for the 4 months of the rainy season, after the 4 months of the rainy season, Sugriv was not coming to help him. Sugriv, he was enjoying himself in the kingdom, and Ram was waiting for 4 months of the rainy season to get over. The rainy season was over, but yet there was no sign of Sugriv. And Ram told Lakshman, can you go and scare him up a little bit? Can you go and shake him up a little bit? Lakshman immediately told Ram, should I go and kill him? Ram said, hey, I didn't tell you to kill him. I only told you to scare him. And then Ram told him how to scare him. He said, scare him enough that he comes running towards me. Don't scare him so much that he runs away from me. Spiritual life, fear is important. But it shouldn't be so much that it takes you away from God. But it should not exist that you don't have any fear at all. That's why Srila Prabhupada always said that the greatest problem in ISKCON is that devotees don't fear Maya enough. Means Prabhupada also encouraged some amount of fear to be there in a devotee. So fear should be there good enough to scare you towards surrender, towards the Lord. But if there is too much fear like Angad, you get paranoid. And you get into situations where you cannot make decisions. where you cannot take risks, where you do not have faith. Here is a very beautiful story from the Ramayana that might help us understand this concept of fear a little better, and also the mood of Angad a little better. When the search party went to search for Sita towards the southern direction, the search party was headed by Angad. And in that search party was Jambavan, Hanuman, Nala, Nila, so many other powerful Vanaras. When the search party began, Angad was very confident, absolutely sure that they'll find Sita. And Angad said, I am going to take all of you all ahead and help find Sita. Vanaras were amazed and they were very, very encouraged. They were very confident of Angad's leadership and vision. And they simply followed him. And Hanuman went right at the back, went right at the end of the gang. Angad represents intelligence, and Hanuman represents faith. In the beginning of your spiritual journey, intelligence is needed. Intelligence should be in the foreground of your life, and faith should be in the background of your life. As I said, Angad represents intelligence. They were all searching for Sita, who represents Bhakti Devi. All these Vanaras are just like us. We are all on the journey to search for Bhakti Devi. We are all on the journey to search for Sita in our own lives. We are all little Vanaras doing our best to search for Sita. And in our pursuit for Sita, we keep our intelligence ahead. There are a lot of people that take up devotion by keeping their intelligence ahead, faith ahead. And usually such people end up with really messy spiritual journeys. If you keep your intelligence behind and faith ahead, what happens is that you end up with gurus and babas that really mislead you. Like in India, there's one very, very powerful baba whom millions of people go to. You go to him with a problem and you tell him, I'm not having a job. What should I do? Baba will tell you, distribute 100 samosas. You'll get a job. The guy is wondering what is the connection of samosa and my job. But he has full faith in Baba and he goes and distributes 100 samosas. And interestingly, he gets a job. And he is 100% confident this Baba is God now. This is keeping your intelligence behind and faith ahead. So most people begin the spiritual journey like this. And because they begin their spiritual journey like this, they end up in a path that doesn't require your intelligence but only requires your faith. And as long as your experience is in alignment with your faith, you feel good. But the day you come across one experience that is not in alignment with your faith, you get shaken up and you lose it completely. So Angad represents that devotee who keeps intelligence ahead and faith behind. So Angad was very confident that they'll find Bhakti Devi, they'll find Sita Devi, and they were going ahead intensely, marching. In the beginning of your spiritual journey, everything is exciting and fun, adventurous, isn't it? When we all began our bhakti, it's super fun, super exciting, The monkeys were so excited, they were searching high and low for Sita. They were so sure somewhere in the one of the corners Sita will be there. They began to search on top of trees. They went to climb mountains and search the peaks of mountains. They went inside caves. They went deep into the water and they did so many things to search for Sita. But nowhere they could find Sita. Slowly, as the days passed and as the result waned, their confidence also started decreasing and they started getting doubts. Valmiki says at one point they entered a forest of doubts. We all in our spiritual journeys begin with enthusiasm and confidence, but at some point we enter into a forest of doubts. Some of the monkeys started saying, does Sita even exist? Some of the monkeys started saying, what are we wasting our time for? Finding one girl, They started having so many doubts. They were hungry, they were thirsty, they were experiencing extreme level of heat, and they were not sure what's happening. At that point in time, um, there was one of them who was fully confident, and that was Hanuman. Just before they left from Kishkinda, Lord Ram met every single Vanara, and he gave blessings to every single Vanara. He met them, he touched them, he blessed them, and these Vanara were thrilled in that moment. But after that moment, when they were on their way, they completely forgot about that experience. Much like us, we all experience blessings from our gurus. We all experience sparsha, touch from our gurus. We all experience so much of good wishes from our gurus. But how much is our memory of those experiences? We forget it quickly, isn't it? The moment the guru leaves, we forget our experience also. But Hanuman was not like that. Hanuman savored that experience and held it deep in his long-term memory. When Lord Ram touched his head, Ram put both his hands on the head of Hanuman. The moment Lord Ram put both his hands on the head of Hanuman, Hanuman closed his eyes and absorbed that experience. And he absorbed that experience so much that he constantly felt the hand of Ram on his head. Now imagine if you're walking in the hot sun and you have two hands covering your head. Will you feel hot? Obviously, you'll not. All the other Vanaras also experienced the touch of Ram, but they didn't savor it. They didn't remember it. And therefore, their experience of heat was different. We all experience heat in our lives in some way or the other. And heat is not exactly temperature. Heat represents all the difficulties and struggles we all experience in life time to time. Heat represents all the pain and tribulations that we all experience in life from time to time. Heat represents the trauma that we all experience in life time to time. The question is there something covering your head and preventing all the heat from really hitting you? Is there the blessings of the gurus, of the teachers, and the Lord that we can savor, that we can remember, that we can actually feel when we are going through those tough patches of life? As long as we can experience that, the heat won't affect us so much. But the moment we forget that, the heat will start affecting us and we will enter into the forest of doubts. All the Vanaras, they felt, we want to go back home. Enough. I have done enough bhakti and I don't see the end destination anywhere close by. I don't think I'll find Bhakti Devi. The first phase of our devotion is very easy phase. It's like putting a screw into the wall. If you have experience putting screws into the wall, the first phase of putting the screw into the wall is a very easy one, right? You do it with your hand, just turn it around and goes in smoothly. When you start chanting the holy names, you chant the mala, just smoothly glides, very, very smoothly it glides. It's like almost like a cycle chain, which is well greased, very smooth in its movement. But the moment a few years get over and you start reaching some rough phases of your devotional life, you start struggling. The mala doesn't move so fast. It's like the cycle chain that is ungreased. It makes sounds. It makes weird kind of noises. It comes off the hook. It's very difficult phase of life. So that's what these Vanaras are going through at that point in time. And a lot of them wanted to just give up. Just like so many devotees in the path of bhakti, at some point just give up simply because they are not well greased. They are not, they're not seasoned to handle the tough times of life. At one point during the search, they came across a huge cave. And this cave was so huge and so dark. They were all scared just looking at the mouth of the cave. It is said the cave was so dark that if you put your hand in, you can't even see your hand. The Vanaras didn't know what to do. Angad was a leader among them, and he was going right in the front and leading the way all through the search for the last 1 month. But when he came across this cave, he panicked. He said, I can't go in. Why did Angad say I can't go in? The reason Angad said I can't go in is because Angad has a traumatic experience with caves. His father, Wali, went into one cave, and that's where all the problems in his life began. Wali was searching or chasing this demon named Mayavi, and Mayavi ran into a cave like this. Wali ran behind Mayavi into the cave. Sugriv was running along with Wali. Wali told Sugriv, stand outside the cave. Don't come inside the cave. Wali went into the cave alone. The reason Wali went into the cave alone was because he wanted to take the credit of killing Mayavi on only to himself. If Sugriv also followed him into the cave, then he would have to share credit. He would have to say, we killed Mayavi. But if he went alone here, he could say, I killed Mayavi. There are a lot of people, they want to take credit of doing big things only for themselves. And because you want to take the credit of doing big things for yourself, you also take big risks for yourself. So the question is, do you want to distribute risks? And do you want to distribute credits? If you distribute credits, you also get to distribute risks. But if you don't distribute credits, you also don't get to distribute risks. So Wali took the credit, but he also took the risk. And the moment he went into the cave, that's where all the problems in his life began. Wali was fighting with Mayavi and all the other demons for a year. Sugri waited outside the cave. And at some point, he heard a very loud voice that seemed to be like Wali's scream of death. He got scared. He didn't want Mayavi and the demons to come out to kill all the Kishkinda Vasis. He just covered the cave with a huge boulder, filled it up with so many rocks support, and then he ran back to Kishkinda. He just assumed that Wali is dead. A very, very big assumption. Of course, Wali came out alive, and then Sugriv and everything else went topsy-turvy. But when Angad saw the cave, he realized cave equal to danger. He didn't want to repeat what his father did. He said, I can't enter caves. Policy decision I've taken. Yeah. Angad represents intelligence. Intelligence is very good in solving problems. But when you come across a problem that intelligence cannot solve, that's when you fall in big trouble. Especially when all you have is intelligence. There are many people in life that only cultivate intelligence in their life. They spend their entire life in the pursuit of intelligence. And intelligence does award them nicely when it comes to their jobs, when it comes to their occupations, when it comes to earning money. But invariably, every human being in life comes across situations where you face hurdles and problems that intelligence is not able to solve. Whenever you come across problems that intelligence doesn't have a solution for, what will you do if all you have is talent? If all you have is intelligence? That's when these people get bewildered. Angad was solving all the problems of his life using intelligence. And now he came across a cave. And suddenly he freezed. He didn't know what to do. He said, I can't handle this problem. The cave represents many things in our lives. I'm sure all of you all can at least recall one problem that you have come across that your intelligence is not able to solve. You must have, I'm sure, come across at least one situation in your life that with all your intelligence, you cannot come up with a solution and answer. The cave represents all those situations and problems in your life. Whenever you come across such situations and problems in your life, that's the time to bring Hanuman in the front. Hanuman walked in. He was right at the back. All this while you are right at the back. Why is Hanuman at the back of the whole gang? Because Hanuman is Pavanaputra. He is the son of the wind god. When wind blows from the front, it stops your journey. It slows down your journey. But when wind blows from behind, it speeds up your journey, right? Hanuman was right at the back, pushing people. We all need a Hanuman in our life to push us ahead in our journeys of life. We all have at least one devotee right at the back of our spiritual lives who's simply doing this job of pushing us. You know, um, not all of us are going to smoothly walk ahead in life. Most of us are like stones. You know what's a stone? Stones are, for a stone to move ahead, what does a stone have to do? It can't do anything. It just sits there. Somebody has to pick up the stone and move it ahead. And then it sits there also until someone else picks up the stone and puts it ahead. So a lot of disciples, a lot of devotees are like stones. It's called dhela. Stones are tough people to progress in spiritual life. And then some of us are like helas. Helas are handcarts. What does a handcart have to do to go ahead in life? Somebody has to push it. It has wheels, but it doesn't move on its own. Somebody has to push it. And how much ever they get pushed, they go very fast ahead in their spiritual lives. Somebody stops pushing, they stop going ahead. You have to create marathons. You have to create Bhagavatam, distribution plans. You have to create some kind of engagement to push people ahead. And as long as somebody is there pushing, they are going ahead. The day that guy who's pushing stops pushing, everything falls apart. Everyone settles down like stones, isn't it? So most people's lives are stuck between being a stone and being a handcart. Very few people become self-reliant. They're known as chelas. Chelas are people who don't have to be pushed to go ahead and do things for a guru. They, on their own, they go and venture out. They, on their own, go out and do things. So, for most of the Vanar Sena, there is Hanuman who's pushing behind. Every congregation, every community has one Hanuman who's like, pushing from behind constantly. And most of us, we're just being pushed ahead in our spiritual life. We don't want to go ahead, but get pushed ahead. We don't want to go ahead, but somebody is pushing us so hard that we have no option but to go ahead in life. So as long as Hanuman as long as Angad was having vision, Hanuman was quietly following that vision. But when Angad came across a problem that he didn't have a solution for, when Angad came across a problem that his intelligence could not solve, Hanuman came ahead. And Hanuman told, let me go ahead. Faith doesn't need logic to move ahead. Faith doesn't need clarity to go ahead. Faith doesn't need exactly a clear path to go ahead. Faith goes ahead in darkness. Faith goes ahead during the most difficult times of life. Faith goes ahead when nothing else can move. Hanuman walked into the dark cave as if he could see very clearly. It's not that Hanuman had a torchlight. It's not that Hanuman's iPhone light was on and he was being able to see things inside. Hanuman simply had the faith that Ram will guide me. During the darkest phase of lives, what is the voice that is inside you that is prompting you? Is it the voice of fear that says, no, 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 don't go ahead, too much danger? Or is it the voice of faith that tells you, go ahead, God is there with you? We all have these two voices in our hearts. There is an Angad's voice that is a voice of reasoning, which technically we call it as system 2. And then there is Hanuman's voice. The Hanuman's voice is a voice of intuition. It's a voice of faith. It is the voice of clarity. It is a voice of being guided by God. We all have to take decisions in our life. Most of the times we need system 2 to tell us what to do. That means we need logic, we need reasoning, We need very, very systematic thoughts to give us ideas. But sometimes the voice of reasoning doesn't work. Sometimes logic doesn't work. And those are the times we need the system one, which is the whole idea of intuitions. Logical thinking kills intuition. And intuition, many times, especially during difficult times in life, guides us and gives us thoughts that nothing else can explain logically. Hanuman walked in straight into the cave without any kind of support and without any kind of clarity. He just had faith that Ram will guide him. As soon as Hanuman walked in, there was one Vanara just behind Hanuman. He caught the tail of Hanuman, he walked in along with him. The third Vanara behind him, he caught the tail of the second Vanara and walked along. And the next one caught the tail of that one. And very soon, all of them were walking inside, holding each other's tail. This is called Guru Parampara. There is someone way ahead of you that can see clearly, that has a vision of God, that can see the path that God has created for us. Most of us, we can only see the person right ahead of us. We can see our counselors, we can see our mentors, we can see our guides. We can't see far ahead who's there, Far, far ahead, there is someone who has seen God. Most of us, we only see the person right in front of us. That's good enough. Srila Prabhupada told all his disciples, you have no qualification. Just hold my dhoti and I'll take you all to the back door of the kingdom of God. So what we are doing is simply holding the dhoti of someone ahead of us. And that person is holding the dhoti of someone ahead of him. And that person is holding the dhoti of someone ahead. So that's what Guru Parampara is all about. Darkness, it tests faith. Most people in darkness give up. Intelligence fails during the darkest phases of life. That's where faith comes as a ray of hope. So when Hanumanji walked in and all the Vanaras walked behind, they reached deep inside a cave. And this huge, massive cave opened up where they found, so it was almost like a magical palace inside a dark cave. They reached there and they found this huge arena filled with so many amazing things. And in that, they found a lady sitting there with her eyes closed in a yogic posture. This lady opened her eyes as soon as all the Vanaras walked in and she welcomed them. She said, I know who you all are. She said, you are Angad, you are Hanuman. And she knew every one of them. And she told them that I'm sure all of you are hungry. Let me feed you all. And she, in a moment, brought forth hundreds and thousands of kilos of fruits, all varieties, all kinds of drinks. The Vanaras were so happy and excited, drinking and eating all of that. Some of them said, forget Sita, forget Ram, we want to remain here only. We don't want to go back to Kishkinda also, we just want to enjoy here. That's what happens with some people who are on the path of bhakti, but they find some fringe benefits. They get so absorbed in those fringe benefits that they forget the goal of devotion completely. A little respect, a little adoration, a little appreciation, it makes them feel that this is the goal of life. Hanuman was very focused. He told her, can you please get us out of here? We want to find Sita. Swayam Prabha told Hanuman that I will help you all, provided all of you close your eyes. All of them, they said, okay, we'll close our eyes. And all of them shut their eyes. She told them, on no condition you should open your eyes. They all closed their eyes. So suddenly they felt they were flying very fast in the air. Obviously now, some of the Vanaras couldn't hold their eyes shut for long. They suddenly opened their eyes. Closing of the eyes indicates faith. How much can you walk with your eyes closed? Can you? How much can you walk with your eyes closed? Not much, isn't it? It's as much as your faith allows you to walk. So at some point, people feel, no, 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 I need to have my own vision. I need to see things with my own eyes. Spiritual life, you cannot see everything with your own eyes. You need to have the vision of somebody else. And just close your eyes and follow that vision. So all these Vanaras had only that much capacity. So some of them had capacity of closing eyes for 2 seconds. Somebody could close eyes for 10 seconds. You know, monkeys. Have you ever seen a monkey close his eyes and sit quietly in one place? Impossible. The monkeys can never sit quietly in one place. That's how the mind is. The mind is always so restless. The only person that could keep eyes closed forever is Hanumanji. But this was a teamwork. If one person opened the eyes, that's all. The project ends. So instantly they found themselves outside the cave, but they found themselves in front of a huge ocean. They realized if only they had kept their eyes closed for a little while more, they would have probably reached Lanka also. But they couldn't. So the rest of the journey has to be covered by effort. So if we have full faith, our entire journey can be covered in 1 second. Srila Prabhupada said, if I only have few people, 5 or 6 people who had 100% faith in Krishna, we can conquer the world in 18 days. Until now, Prabhupada has not found those 5, 6 people. Therefore, we're still conquering the world. It's been like 50 years, we're still very far away from that mark. Simply 100% faith that Krishna exists. Simply 100% faith that the path of spirituality works. And that 100% faith is not easy, isn't it? We keep opening our eyes to figure out on our own. We keep opening our eyes to figure out whether I am in the right direction. Anyways, so when the Vanaras reached the shore of the Southern Ocean, they were very confused. Till they reached a point where they met Sampati, brother of Jatayu, who told them Sita is on an island in the middle of the ocean, 800 miles away. That gave them confidence. The question was, how are they going to go there? Angad pumped them up, gave them super confidence. And all these Vanaras, they were so confident, so inspired hearing Angad's speech. And they all shouted and jumped and whistled. But then the reality dawned. They realized that I can't do much. I can only do this much. See, these motivational speeches and talks can motivate you for some amount of time. But the reality hits you in a different way, isn't it? People hear these motivational lectures and they say, yes, yes, I can do it, How they actually do it, they realize that I can only jump 10 miles. Somebody said I can jump only 20 miles. Somebody said I can do only 30 miles. And then somebody said I can jump only 100 miles. When you're jumping the ocean, you have to be honest with yourself. You can't say, I will do it and jump, and then you're jumping 15 miles into the ocean. What are you going to do? Finally, one of them said, I can do 800 miles. And that was Angad. And the Vanara said, wow, our prince can do it. Our leader can do it. And then he said, what? In all our lives, there is a but. I can do it, but. The but indicates your level of faith. The but indicates what is your capacity to do things. So Angad said, but I'm not sure if I can come back. So Vanaras are wondering why, if he jumps that side, why can't he come back? Most people assume it is a problem with energy. They thought that he has only capacity to jump across the ocean. He may not be able to come back. But Jambavan knew it is not the problem with energy. It is a problem with intention. Angad is Vali Putra, is the son of Vali. And being the son of Vali, he also had the traits of Vali. Now, what is the trait of Vali? If Vali lands in Las Vegas, very good chance he won't come back. Because he's going to be so mesmerized by the razzle dazzle of that place that he's just going to completely become one of them. Lanka was nothing different from the sin cities of this world. Absolutely mesmerizing place of gold, right? And Angad had heard a lot about Lanka from many people, including his own father. And he realized, I mean, for a lot of people, these sin cities are like dream cities, He's dreaming their entire life, I want to reach there someday. The goal of my life is not Vaikuntha. The goal of my life is Kuntha, the place of misery, So if that is the goal of your life, your entire life you meditated on one place, and suppose you reach there, what is the chance that you would want to come back? So Angad was very honest. He said, I'm not sure if I can come back. So then everybody was sad and depressed. They didn't know what to do. Suddenly, Jambavan, who was the leader among them, he started looking at every single one of them and he realized there's one person that has not spoken, and that was Hanuman. Jambavan walked up to Hanuman and started reminding Hanuman of his powers. The Acharyas explained why Hanuman had not spoken that day. The reason Hanuman had not spoken was because, according to him, the question was wrong. The question that everybody was answering is, how much can I do? Right? So each one said, I can do this much. Somebody said, I can do that much. Each one of them was saying about what their capacity is. But according to Hanuman, the question itself was wrong. Why? Because Hanuman considered himself to be like an arrow. How far can an arrow go? Does it depend on the arrow? Not at all. It depends on who is shooting the arrow. If it's a small kid, you've seen these small kids with bows and arrows, and they keep shooting around here and there. I mean, if a small kid shoots an arrow, even if it's a powerful arrow, how far can the kid shoot? A few meters, maybe. But if it is a very powerful Olympic archer who's shooting the arrow, how far can that fellow shoot? Probably, quite a distance, isn't it? Quite accurately. But if Lord Ram is shooting the arrow, how far can Lord Ram shoot? He can shoot across the universe. So how far can Hanuman go? Wrong question. The question is, how far can Ram shoot? That's the right question. So how far can Hanuman go? It doesn't depend on Hanuman. That's why he never answered it. Because he considered himself to be an arrow in the hand of Ram. And then when Hanuman jumped, he offered a prayer to Lord Ram and he said, use me, O Lord. And then Ram used him 800 miles with one breath. Before he completed the word Ram, he reached Lanka. That's the speed of Hanuman and the arrow of Lord Ram. For a lot of us who determine our self-worth based on our own capacity, our own analysis of our own capacity, we are always going to be limited. But those who determine their self-worth based on this thought that I am the child of God, I am the son of God, there's no limits. Because the moment you say you are connected to God, you are connected to powerhouse that has no limits. When you say that you can do this much, you are connected to your own strength, your own capacity, your own power, which is always going to be limited. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada always recommended his disciples, take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna will do miracles. There was a man who asked Srila Prabhupada, what is your business formula? How did you build from 40 rupees to 40 crores? What is the secret? Srila Prabhupada simply said, I prayed to Krishna, I chanted the holy names of Krishna, and Krishna sent help. This man couldn't understand. He said, please tell me exactly what your business formula is. How did you expand your empire from just 40 rupees to 40 crores in just a matter of 12 years? Prabhupada said, I sat under a tree, chanted Hare Krishna, and Krishna took care of everything. This man was still not convinced. He was trying to ask the same question in different words. trying to extract the exact formula of success of Prabhupada. One of the disciples of Prabhupada, he said, Swamiji is trying to say that if you are sincere, Prabhupada said, hey, why are you giving explanation to my statement? I said, I chanted Hare Krishna and Krishna sent help. And then Prabhupada, to make it simpler for these guys to understand, he said, now, if I pray to Krishna, Krishna, who is sitting as Paramatma in your heart, will inspire you to put your hand in your pocket, remove your wallet out, and whatever money is there, he will give it to you. He will inspire you to give it to me. This fellow ran away from there. The idea that you are connected to God is a very powerful idea. And most of us, though we are devotees, we have not even accessed the tip of that idea. What can happen if we really understand and realize that we are connected to God? You've seen Srila Prabhupada in 12 years, what he has done. Most of us in our entire lifetime can't even dream of doing what Prabhupada did in just 12 years. Simply because one person strongly having the faith that I'm connected to God. We're all like Angads, getting scared to jump to Lanka. We're all like Angads, using our intelligence to determine what our capacity is. We're all like Angads, trying to understand what I can do. We have to simply become like Hanuman. Plug into the powerhouse that is a storehouse of immense knowledge, wealth, fame, power, every single thing that we will need in our life, it's there, very much there. But the question is, are we connected? So this whole little understanding of Angad's life helps us understand our own shortcomings. Angad is the prince of Kishkinda, but Angad also represents us and our struggle as sadhakas. So we are all literally like mini Angads. And some of us, we are fearing what can happen if we do this. Some of us, we are scared of taking risks when we come across a very tough situation which our intelligence is not able to help. And some of us, we are opening our eyes when we're supposed to be closing our eyes. And some of us, we're standing in front of an ocean thinking what I am capable of, rather than thinking what God can do through me. Angad, at so many levels, represents so many things, which are our own fears. And simply, if we get trained properly under gurus like Hanuman, we might overcome our struggles from being little scared Vali Putra Angads to become powerful devotees of Lord Ram. And that's what happened when Angad reached Lanka in front of Ravan. And when Angad reached Lanka in front of Ravan, Ravan asked him, who are you? He said, I'm son of Vali. Ravan said, hey, Vali, my friend. Angad said, your friend is dead. Ravan was shocked. He said, how can Vali die? Angad said, Vali died with one arrow brought down. Ravan said, come on, who dies with one arrow? I mean, in Bollywood movies, people don't die with 3-4 bullets also, And Vali, Angad gave a very interesting graphic example. He said, just like you pierce a needle through a ripe banana, similarly, Ram's arrow pierced through Vali's chest. He died. And Angad told him, if you don't return back Sita, Ram still has that arrow with him. And he will kill you too. Ram was just not interested. Angad wanted to give him a live demonstration of Ram's power. He put his foot down on the floor. He told Ravan, if you really think you're powerful, remove my foot from the ground and show. Ravan tried his best to pick up Angad's foot from the ground. He just couldn't budge it. He used 20 hands of his. He just couldn't budge a single inch of Angad's foot. Angad said, I'll make it very simple for you. I'll only put one toe of my foot on the ground. And then you show if you can lift it. Ravan couldn't lift a single toe of Angad's feet off the ground. Ravan asked him, where do you get your strength from? The same question that Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad. And Angad told him, I just simply chanted the name of Ram and held my breath. If the name of Ram is so powerful, imagine how powerful Ram is. All of us, we're all in this journey of discovering the power of Ram now. We're all on this journey of discovering the power of the holy names. we still haven't discovered. We're still in the theoretical phase of hearing lectures on the holy name and feeling, wow, this is great. But we have to experience it. Till we reach a point where we experience that power, we will not be able to say with confidence it works. So let us all embark on this journey of self-discovery. Angad began as a doubting soul, but eventually he shaped up as someone that had discovered the power of Ram. Let us all on this journey to Lanka, uh, journey to find Bhakti Devi, find our own, find Bhakti Devi, find the power of Lord, and in the pursuit also discover ourselves. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful lecture. I was here just writing down so many points that you mentioned. And like you said in the beginning of the class, you gave that example of a screw. How, the first few times it's easy putting in the screw, but then later on it gets really hard. At least from my experience, a lot of the points that you covered really helped. And it really helps me, get through that difficult part of, screwing the screw, giving those real life practical examples of Angad and Hanuman. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was a really wonderful lecture. So I'd like to request the devotees to please take this time to come up with any questions. This is a perfect opportunity to ask Prabhuji any questions you may have. In the meantime, Prabhu, with your permission, if I can just make a couple announcements about our upcoming programs. Okay, so share my screen. Hare Krishna. So for those of you who are first timers on our Wednesday Sangha, welcome once again. As you can see, please feel free to visit our ISKCON of Bergen County websites. We have multiple programs listed here that you can make yourself a part of. We have our Wednesday Sangha speakers updated here every weekly. As you can see, this week was His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhu. If you have not been to our center and you're near the Bergen County area or you live in Bergen County, please do visit our center. Our Bhagavad Gita discourse this Sunday will be given by His Grace Gopal Govinda Prabhu. We also have our weekly Bhakti Rikshas program where we discuss Bhagavad Gita, different life lessons from the Bhagavad Gita. We have kirtans, prashadams, serving every Friday. You can please reach out to us, and based on your locality, we have multiple Bhakti Rikshas going on around the area, so we can group you with one of the Bhakti Rikshas that are going on, 7:30 to 9:30. We do have our Bhagavad Gita readings that we have 12 p.m. to 12:15, Monday through Friday. We have our Japa calls, which is, 99% of our spiritual progress, as Prabhupada did say, is based on our chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So please do join us and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with all of us together every day, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And over here, you will see highlights of all of our previous Sunday programs, Wednesday Sanghas, and other festivals that we have celebrated. So with that, I would like to open the floor now to all the devotees who may have any questions. Okay. Yashankri Kaur Mataji, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My danvats to all the Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis who are present here in this class. Prabhu, needless to say, an amazingly power-packed class as always. Prabhu, I was just thinking that you mentioned right in the beginning that in our pursuit of bhakti, we need to keep our intelligence in the forefront and faith at the background. The Prabhu, as soon as in fact, it is said that faith or Shraddha is the first thing, is the prerequisite to even begin bhakti life. So Prabhu, how are we, how to understand this when you say that intelligence has to be in the forefront and faith at the background?
Background doesn't mean it should not be there.
Mm-hmm.
It simply means that faith shouldn't dominate our decision making, or rather, how we choose the path. That's what I meant.
Okay, Prabhu, so this is very similar to what Prabhupada says, that philosophy without something similar like following without philosophy
So he said religion without philosophy
is sentimentalism.
sentimentalism, and
Yeah.
philosophy without religion is mental speculation.
Right, right. So yeah, so if we do not, if we don't use our intelligence at the beginning of our forefront, then we are probably going to land up as fanatics and not really devotees. And Prabhu, one reflection while you were talking about how Angad just took his faith in the holy name. And I was just thinking that when we were reading Lilamrita, when the Juhu project was on its way, even the land acquisition, when that was going on, Mr. N had so many connections, and Prabhupada recalls, and his disciples would put in that, okay, this is his connection, this is his connection, that is his connection. And while we were reading, we were discussing this, that Prabhupada did not have any political connections or any businessman's connection or any rich person's connection, but he had the most powerful connection. He had his direct connection with Krishna, and that's why he won every battle that he fought. So thank you for bringing that point home again. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the nice question. Anybody else? You can write it in the chat as well, or raise your hand. Yeah, Ramchandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very inspiring class. Thank you very much. I have a question, not directly related to Angad, but so Hanumanji is one of the Chiranjeevis, which means he's on this planet. If one wanted to take his darshan, what should one do? He's here, I want his, and it is said that wherever there's Ram Katha, Hanuman is present. Is that just in philosophy? Does it mean that there's 100 kathas happening at the same time and he's present everywhere? Or is it when a pure devotee is preaching? How do we get his mercy to get closer to Lord Ram?
I'll tell you what my limited understanding is. I don't claim that I understand everything, but at least what my personal experience of life has been. Hanumanji's way of looking at things is like this. He has taken this blessing from Lord Ram that whenever and wherever Ram Katha is going on, he wants to be there. And Ram Naam is being chanted. Hanuman never said that wherever Ram Naam is chanted by pure devotees, I want to be there. He never said that wherever Ram Katha is going on by a pure devotee, I want to be there. He said wherever Ram Katha is going on, I want to be there. Because he doesn't discriminate whether Ram Katha is done by a pure devotee or it is done by a neophyte. Because he realizes that Ram Katha has a potency to make anyone who is a neophyte also a pure devotee. So we should definitely understand that wherever Ram Katha is going on, wherever Ram Naam is being chanted, Hanuman is there. And Hanuman is the wind god, right? He's Pavana Putra. Where is wind not present? Whenever you experience a breeze, Hanuman is there. If you're doing Ram Naam, Ram Katha, and you experience any breeze over there, that's Hanuman. So we have to understand that Hanuman is as omnipotent as the wind and omnipresent as the wind, basically. And experiencing the presence of Hanuman is not very difficult if you really want to experience him. For a lot of us, our own spiritual paths began and happened through Hanumanji only. And I can vouch for myself. My connection with Krishna happened through Hanumanji. And, for a lot of us, I'm sure for a lot of us, Hanuman Chalisa and Hanuman's pastimes have been more integral to part of our life than Krishna pastimes, right? Much later we came across Krishna in our lives, right? So Hanuman brings us closer to Ram, closer to Krishna. That's his role. And in fact, whenever people have problems in life, they approach Hanumanji, right? In fact, Hanuman tells people, don't approach Ram for your petty problems, for your job problems, for your children problems, for your marriage problems, for your house problems. Don't approach Ram and waste his time. Come to me, I'll solve all those problems for you. You go to Ram only for pure, chanting and pure holiness. Hanuman actually acts as that medium to stop us from approaching God for petty things in life. He takes on that responsibility. He doesn't want to trouble Ram for all those petty issues that people have in life. What an amazing service, isn't it? It's actually a big sacrifice in one sense because Hanuman has to hear all the stupid material problems that people are going through, and he helps people deal with them also, so that their path towards Ram is clear, and it's very very pure basically. So all of us on our own journeys, we connect with Hanumanji in so many levels. And I feel that Hanumanji is definitely there to assist anyone on their journey towards Ram.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'm just wondering, like, what you've written so many books on from Ramayana or the Ramayana pastimes. What inspired you? Was it even before you came to Krishna consciousness that you were attracted to Lord Ram's pastimes, that you focused your this as your focus?
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, I was born in a Sri Vaishnava family in Kanchipuram in South India. So naturally, there is for Sri Vaishnavas, just like the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Bhagavatam is the essence, the most powerful literature. Similarly, for Sri Vaishnavas, Ramayana is that book. So I had exposure to the Ramayana from before. So there was a natural inclination towards Ramayana. But right now I'm working on the Mahabharata series. So in a couple of years, you'll find me speaking very extensively on Mahabharata. So I find that all these pastimes, whether it is pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, whether it's pastimes of Lord Krishna, whether it is pastimes of Lord Ram, each of them is extremely powerful and extremely potent. And whatever your mind can get absorbed in, you should get absorbed in. For some people, it will be natural inclination towards Ramayana. For some people, it will be natural inclination towards Bhagavatam. For some, it will be natural inclination towards Mahabharata or the Gita. Whatever your natural inclinations towards any of the scriptures are, it's great. I remember once I was traveling in a bus to Goa. I mean, all of you all know what Goa is, right? So I was traveling in a bus for doing some teaching programs there, and I was just sitting there in the bus, and one guy walked up to me, absolute hippie, dressed in strange ways and all that, and Western guy, not an Indian bodied guy, a Western guy. He came up to me and he asked me a question that I can't forget. You know what he asked me? Like no sign of a devotee, this man. He asked me, whom do you like more? Do you like Lord Chaitanya more, Lord Krishna more, or Lord Ram more? Imagine that. So I thought for a moment, and then I told him, uh, when I speak about Ram, I forget Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. When I speak about Krishna, I forget Ram and Lord Chaitanya. And when I speak about Lord Chaitanya, I forget Ram and Krishna. All of them are our gods. All of them are so beautiful in their own ways. So I find, my attraction towards all of them. When I'm in that subject, I kind of forget the others, basically.
Thank you.
Sorry, Haribo. Thank you so much. Any other devotees have any other questions they'd like to ask?
I just want to tell all of you all that if you all like what you heard today and you are really inspired by the analysis and the kind of discussion that we had, I would like to share with all of you that I have done many courses on the Ramayana, on Hanuman Chalisa, on life principles, etc., which are available on the website. It's called shubhavilas.com. You just go there and explore all the courses. Each one of the courses that are there are extremely powerful and as practical as the one that we discussed today. I would highly recommend all of you to go ahead and explore these courses and learn so much more about bhakti, devotion, as well as how you can apply the teachings of the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Gita in our practical lives.
Just to let you know that we are using your Little Krishna, the blue book, in our Sunday school.
Oh, that's wonderful. So happy to hear that.
It's part of our curriculum. We have a large, altogether we have about 60, 70 students. So one of the classes uses that.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
We have many more books now in the curriculum. You should definitely explore those.
Absolutely. And also, I know you were here recently, but the next time you come to the US, please keep us in mind. I know you get booked right away, but if you could give us a Sunday ISKCON of Bergen, then we'll try to promote it big time so we have a decent audience. Yeah.
I'll be there somewhere in November, December. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Perfect. Thank you. So with that, if the devotees don't have any, yes.
Prabhu, just one question. Prabhu, I just wanted to know if you are continuing your Gita series that you were giving on each verse. I think we've covered up till a few shlokas from 7th chapter. I was just looking forward to more.
Oh, I have completed the entire Gita, all 18 chapters. So I could share the entire playlist with you all if you like.
That would be great too, because I don't think on YouTube it's available.
It's there. Every single lecture is there on YouTube. I'm going to share with you all the entire playlist right now. Just give me a moment. Here. Oops. This says message is too long to send. What I'll do is I'll send it to Ramchandra Bhu. Okay, it's not allowing me to drop on the chat here. But I'll send it to Ramchandra Bhu and he can share it with everybody. Okay.
And before we close, just wanted to announce to all the devotees that we have just recently received a new shipment of the Sri Radhe A2 cow ghee. And you must have received a message on the IBC WhatsApp group. So we have a limited stock, and just so that you know, the prices have significantly been reduced because now we are getting the ghee through containers through a ship. So our freight cost has gone down significantly. It's only $30. So go to that link in your IBC WhatsApp group. If you're not getting that, or you're not on our group, and let me know, Ram Tulsi Prabhu. But you can sign up. So this Sunday we can deliver you the ghee that a lot of you all have been waiting for. So just wanted to mention that. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So just going once, going twice. If anybody has any last question, and then we'll conclude today's session. Going once, going twice. Okay. Well, once again, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining us. We look forward to having you again on our platform. I'd like to request all the devotees to please unmute themselves and chant one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Thank you, Prabhuji, once again for joining. Thank you, all the devotees, for giving us your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.